I thrive to help students and really anybody find resources when they need them. It's super important for students and anybody to overcome barriers in order to reach success.
This is More to the Story, a podcast of Thomas More University. We highlight the people of Thomas More, their experiences, aspirations, and how passion meets purpose and drives possibility forward. Join us as we foster conversation and connection, because we know there's always more to the story.
Welcome to More to the Story. I'm your host, Michael Weller. This is episode 4 of 4, where we're focusing on mental health awareness. In alignment with Thomas More University's mission to examine the ultimate meaning of life and our responsibility to others, mental health awareness is a vital part of that calling, inviting us to support one another, uphold dignity, and build a community rooted in empathy and service. In this series, we introduce you to 4 individuals from the Thomas More community who are leading, supporting, and advocating for mental well-being. Through their stories and experiences, we'll highlight the ways our community is working to build awareness, strengthen resources, and ensure that every person feels seen and supported. So let's get to our guest today, Emilee Huser. Emilee is the coordinator of career planning at Thomas More, where she supports students with internships, job searches, and professional development. She is currently completing a master's in organizational leadership at Thomas More and earned her bachelor's degree in history from Northern Kentucky University. In addition to her role, she has led student-focused initiatives, including the Safe Housing Project, the Career Closet, expanding compassion pantry resources, and the introduction of mental health first aid training, working to ensure students are supported both professionally and personally. Welcome, Emilee.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going well. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely.
As mentioned, it's kind of our home stretch here for the podcast for this year. And really excited to have you on to kind of cap that off.
I'm very excited to be here. I love listening to your podcast, and I look forward to it every time.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
You. Appreciate that. All right. Well, tell us a little bit about your role here at Thomas More, and how that connects to, supporting students, definitely beyond academics.
Yeah, for sure. So like you had mentioned, my role with my title, right? Coordinator career planning. So I do resumes, cover letters. I help with their writing reference letters. I also help with job searches and internships. I don't necessarily place students into internships, but I help them find the ones that fit their needs. Additionally, I teach a few classes. In the first semester, I taught students who were exploring, and I help them look at their values and align it with their purpose and where they could put their values into the workplace and how that would shape them holistically. On a broader scope, and I like to call it my heart song, right? I thrive to help students and really anybody find resources when they need them. It's super important for students and anybody to overcome barriers in order to reach success, right? So, I am the chair of the Resource and Support Coalition. If I talk about it later on, it's probably going to be referred to as RSC, because we just love alphabet soup here. Our mission is to connect all the students with resources to help them overcome all these barriers. So our team is 10 staff and faculty members, but we also have 2 student representatives. That way we can get the voice of the students in there as well, so we can fulfill those needs and see those gaps. We have a direct partnership with Archer Daniels Midland, which is ADM. It's a pretty large company, and they do a program every year called ADM Cares. This is the second year that we received the grant. This year it was $10,000. Last year it was $15,000. And hopefully it's a relationship that we can continue to get funding annually. The first year that we did it, we focused on Saints Tech in the library. So you'll see they have more calculators, chargers, because there was a lot of times that students would have a dead laptop or their phone was dead in the library. And they would go to the counter and be like, do you have a charger? I'm like, no, we don't. So we wanted to make sure that students could go to the library as a resource, sit in there, study, and if they need anything, calculator, there's a Cricut in there. There's actually a translator in there. We bought one. I don't really know how it works, but someone smarter than me does. So yeah, there's a lot of different tech that's put into the library. We also upgrade the career closet, and we initiated and implemented the safe housing project.
Gotcha. Well, that's where I want to head next, is the Safe Housing Project. Tell us a little bit more about that, where the inspiration came from, and why is that super important to students' well-being here on campus?
Yeah, absolutely. So Safe Housing Project, it stands for Students Access to Fast Emergency Housing. So we wanted to make sure that there was a place if a student was struggling with any kind of housing crisis, that they could reach out to one of us, anybody on campus, because honestly, students disclose a lot to people. Whoever they feel comfortable with, they'll tell. So sometimes it's their professor, sometimes it's their advisor, sometimes it's the career counselor, right? So knowing the needs that the students have and making sure that there is a place for them is super important. So going to what inspired the initiative was in 2024, there were several instances where we became aware that there were students experiencing housing crises that to the point where there were some students that were sleeping in their car on campus. And that was how they would be able to continue going to class. They would sleep in their car, go to class. And then we found out, how do we help? We don't really have a place. So that's what sparked the idea and where we went for it. So there's a few dorm rooms that we blocked off for students if there is ever a crisis, that have it be homelessness, any kind of home abuse, things, literally anything. If it's something where you don't feel safe when you go home, you're safe here. Stable housing is super important for anybody's well-being, right? If you don't feel safe at home, you're not going to be successful outside your home, right? So the Thomas More Safe Housing Project allows students who are experiencing a housing crisis to focus on their studies rather than survival. Students should not have to worry about if they have a safe place to lay their head at night. So that's basically like the reason for it. And honestly, with probably the last like 10 years, housing crisis has spiked. People have been evicted from their houses. So like for our students, that might not be them directly, but that could be their families. So like finding a place for those students to put their head at night is super important and the last thing they should worry about.
For sure. All right. So moving on a little bit different, switching gears just a bit with the Compassion Pantry. Kind of a similar thing. It's just providing students a resource to, like you said, focus on studies rather than having to, have a place to live or get food. Tell me a little bit more about how the Compassion Pantry has expanded since you've got here.
Yeah, for sure. So with that grant that I spoke about earlier, is the ADM Cares grant. It's definitely largely responsible for the expansion of the Compassion Pantry. We were able to get a freezer that is helping the undergrad students that are, I don't want to say stuck on campus during break, but they kind of are, right? So they're staying in dorms during winter break, spring break, Easter, Thanksgiving, summer break for the athletics. I don't know how many there is, but there's a decent enough that we noticed there was a need, right? So with the freezer, we're able to put in like freezer meals. That way they last longer, which honestly, we might not need to do as many freezer items because the items go so fast during the breaks because the students need it. Supporting students while they remain on campus while the kitchen is closed is definitely like a big thing. So everybody, all the undergrad students that are like traditional and whatnot, they get the meal plan, right? But the kitchen closes on breaks. And then what do? Some of these students don't have cars, don't have transportation by any means. So they got to Uber to the store. If you shout out to Tank Bus, right? You guys have those passes on your, your Saints card, right? So you can go on the bus if you need to.
Well, we appreciate that. As a student myself, the Compassion Pantry is something that like I never would have thought of. But now that it's there, it's like, it makes total sense. Yeah.
And we also, this last break, I had a couple students reach out to me saying that they were going to use the Compassion Pantry over break, but that they needed like vegan options. And I'm so naive, apparently. I'm thinking everybody just eats the same way, right? So I was like, oh my gosh, time to go to Trader Joe's. So we went to Trader Joe's and they have so many vegan options. So came back and had some vegan options available. So yeah, so if there's ever any kind of need specific like that, reach out to me.
That's awesome. All right. I want to talk about the career closet. This is something that honestly I'm not very familiar with at all.
Okay.
So please just give me like a little overview of that and how, making students feel prepared and confident professionally can affect our ability to feel a sense of belonging here.
Yeah, for sure. So the career closet started when I started here. And I basically was the only person in career services, and there was an empty office slightly down the hall from mine. I have been to, like you said, my undergrad was at NKU. I don't think that they had something like this, but with my other background working with nonprofits and whatnot, I've seen other places come up with career closets. Dress for Success is one of them, which is a free service, right? So access to professional clothes is so expensive, right? Having access to professional clothes keeps people ready for their future. You can't be over prepared, right? And I've seen, there's been so many times I go to a career fair, and this still happens regardless of the career closet being available, just a little tidbit. People show up in their pajamas. Kind of odd when you're trying to get a job, but we have the resources. Please use them. We have plenty of clothes. And then we get donations from like the alumni is honestly probably the biggest one. They love to give back. Faculty and staff members. And honestly, it's open to faculty, staff, students, anybody. It's nice to just go in there sometimes and refresh your stuff and maybe donate a few things. How does feeling prepared and confident professionally affect the student's sense of belonging? I don't know if you've ever felt like imposter syndrome. It's literally the worst thing. Definitely feeling like you don't belong. So being unprepared for like an interview and feeling like, man, are they going to know if my black jeans are not dress pants? They know. Okay. they know. So come on down to the career closet. We're happy to help you.
All right. So we've talked about 3 different initiatives that you've kind of spearheaded, in a sense, here on campus. I don't know if you want to pick which one is the most meaningful. I mean, I know sometimes it's kind of hard to pick favorites, but
it's like picking a favorite child.
Yeah.
You don't do that when they're awake. Yeah, no, I don't have a favorite. And I think, yeah, there's not a way for me to pick the most meaningful. But what I can tell you is most meaningful is seeing the resources being used, right? When we filled the Compassion Pantry for the spring break, we came back and people wrote all over the place. And honestly, it like almost brought me to tears. And it was things that was like, thank you so much. Something simple, right? Someone said, thanks so much for the corn dogs. They made my day. And I'm like, hey, if a corn dog can make someone's day, it's a great day. And then, I mean, we even had popsicles because it's not only about like the basics, right? I really didn't want to fill the Compassion Pantry with ramen. Who wants to eat ramen every day? Nobody. The answer is nobody. So like even like they need treats, and someone said, thank you so much for the popsicles. So it's things like that. And then like having students come to me and they're like, hey, what is a career closet? But it's still kind of, people don't really know about it. I'm trying to like push it more. I'm like, well, take it down. I take them over there, and just people using the career closet. And I do ask to know the amount of stuff that leaves, just so that's all I really keep track of. And like people leaving with like multiple outfits and pair of shoes, that's the impact that actually matters, right? And then like, there's been some times that maybe the safe housing has been requested and not used. And I think that my theory is when they hear that they have a place that they can go, they can breathe and then actually address what their need is and be able to make like choices that aren't panicking, right? They're not like, where am I going to sleep tonight? They're able to actually breathe and figure it out. So I think that seeing the impact is the most important.
Awesome. Okay. So you talked about 3 different things here that we have available to students and, like you said, anybody on campus. For anyone who might not know how to get in touch with those resources, what would you say to them?
So another initiative that is honestly pretty small, and it was a real simple fix, is that we saw very early on that it was hard to find some things on our website. So what we did was we requested that a student resources button was added to the bottom of Thomas More's website, right? So where it says like job opportunities, I think that's apply, things like that. There's student resources. When you click on student resources, there are multiple drop downs. There's like, I think one's like Canvas homepage. Then there's like, health and well-being, student success, housing, things like that, that then have drop downs. This is your toolkit for surviving Thomas More University, right? All of your resources are there. And every time there's a resource that I find that isn't on there, I request for it to be added every time. And then additionally, outside of our resources, at the very bottom of that page is a drop down for external resources. So if there's something where you don't feel like there's that your need is being met within the Thomas More resources, there's 2 other resources on there that you should check out as well. But I do want to point out too, it's not just the website, right? Ask someone, anybody. Ask your faculty, ask your advisor. Anybody will help you. Everyone here wants you to succeed and you want to help.
For sure. I don't know if you want to plug how we can get in contact with you.
What, I was like, nope. No, just kidding. Yeah, of course. So I am in the advising hallway, which is, there used to be a yellow hand chair, and everyone was like, go to the hand chair and then turn. It's not there anymore. Sorry, guys.
What happened to that?
It went with handshake. But anyways, so you go up the stairs in the admin building, and that hallway, it has like your advisors. You have Devin Fisher, you have Ashley Hall, you have me, you have the registrar. Yeah, that's where you can find me, or you can just send me an email. I mean, Emilee Huser, my email pops up.
All right. As we wrap up here, is there anything you might have missed that you would like to add? Yeah.
So if you are having trouble overcoming any other barrier that we have not mentioned, please reach out to me. We want the community to be a community of resources and support. We want you to feel that Thomas More is exactly where you belong.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
That's it for today's episode. Please follow along as we look for what's more to the story. You can find us on Spotify and on YouTube. This episode was produced by Kendra Yurt and the Marketing and Communications team at Thomas More University. Artwork and editing by Kendra Yurt.